music for this little intro stuff before we get going. But it's okay. We'll get it going.
Oh, back.
If you are watching on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. Everyone, I appreciate you. Hit like and subscribe. If you're on playback, make sure to join our room. Later in the show, you're gonna have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to come up here and speak with us. We got the great John Dickinson joining us today. Pretty excited about that. But we're just getting into it right now. Still just September. I don't need to come out balls blazing just yet. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Balls blazing.
I don't know. I make up extra. Just shit that makes me sound old. Let's be honest.
Oh, a bunch of people just jumped in. Let's go. All right, let me tweet this out. Rock and roll. Rock and load. I am excited. Saw on the schedule there's a freaking game this weekend. Let's go.
I know.
You think Steph's going to play?
Yeah, of course. I think it's Steve will tell us when he speaks to the media, but classic first game is play the first quarter, plays the first half of the second quarter, total 12 minutes, call it a day.
That makes me happy. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah. Should we get this bad boy underway?
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's do it, guys. All right. Presented by Prize Picks. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 and you use the promo code Welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, it's not the regular season, but it's the official start of preseason. We are back. Warriors basketball is back, and I want to make a formal announcement. We are out of the chair.
We are.
They signed GP2. He showed up at Media Day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's an impressive out of the chair moment, but officially, I told everyone I'm gonna go with the chair. I'm gonna tweet out a new chair, a new hotel chair every day until they make a signing. Technically, they made a signing.
I need you to bring it. No, don't stop, dude. No. You're not freaking stopping it for GP2, man. Keep it going. We got till Wednesday. Tommy's gonna be sitting in. Hopefully, that'll be a good news show, right? Hopefully that'll truly be out of the chair. But no, dude, you're keeping the freaking chair Tuesday.
The chat is okay. So the chat is saying that they agree with you.
Agree.
Overarching. I'm gonna throw a poll in here. Are we still in the chair?
Yeah.
Yes. No. You guys let us know. I'm a man of the people. We're gonna go with democracy here. Democracy dies in darkness or whatever, Tell us if we're still in the chair.
It dies when you deal with coming to negotiations for 92 days. That's when democracy.
Bro, I'm not impressed with anyone in this thing. All right, everyone. Media Day, and we got a special guest here, so we might as well bring our special guest up. One more reminder: if you're watching on YouTube, hit like and subscribe. If you're watching on playback, join our room. You have your chance to sound off later in the show. I'm so excited. We're going to be doing all of these all year, simulcast, playback, and YouTube. So join us however you are most comfortable. But, it's Media Day, a subdued Media Day, in my opinion, Andy. And we had to get a guest up here, someone who was in the building.
Yes.
Someone, not just someone who was in the building, someone I trust to tell us the truth about what happened in the building. Not the Raymond Ritter approved truth, not the Joe Lacob approved truth, the actual truth of what was going on there. Our guy John Dickinson's coming up here.
I think the Warriors are running like North Korea. What's going on over there, man?
Couldn't
get a live stream. What the hell is going on? Couldn't get a link.
They did have it on YouTube.
Okay,
so I don't know if it was that embargoed, not full North Korea, but like soft non-democracy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, Supreme Leader Lacob. Yes.
Mauser Lacob is where we're going. What's up, JD? What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? Good to be with you, Sam, Andy. Always fun. What a day! What an underwhelming, kind of boring, dull. I'm just coming out firing. I mean, it was
Please.
I mean, I've been covering Warrior Media Day since, God, I don't even know now. It's been a long time. I think 2012 was the first one that I covered. And I think that was the most kind of worthless in a lot of ways, but yet with all this like beneath the surface stuff kind of going on. So it was interesting because I mean, I've been there obviously when it's been a complete shit show, right? With, KD's joining the team and they're coming off a title and then they win 73 games and they lose the title and, all the drama of KD's last year. And then, the year where obviously everybody got hurt and getting back to winning a title. So I've seen a lot of different versions of Warriors Media Day. And I think this one was certainly unique, I think, in the grand scheme of things.
Felt like they're trying to keep it that way, though. Felt like they were trying to purposely, like, if nobody talks about this today, if Light Years comes on and doesn't do a media day podcast, we'll be happy about it. Well, bad news. We're gonna do it, but felt like they were trying to do that. I mean, yeah. The chat brings it up. Like Steve Kerr and Dunleavy we didn't even hear from them, which is insane to me.
I can't
unprecedented. Unprecedented.
Okay, so I'm not insane for thinking it's weird that they didn't speak.
Yeah. That's price of admission. I mean, that usually they speak the Thursday before the Monday. I mean, today you typically a normal season when they're not going to Japan or wherever, Hawaii or what. Even last year, I think they spoke a couple of days before Monday, and then everybody flew to Hawaii on the Monday, and then they had their first practice over in Hawaii on Tuesday. So no, it's and honestly, I think they're actually borderline in violation of the league media rules at this point, to be honest, to not have the coach and the general manager speak at this point. I think maybe the league is not necessarily enforcing it because they're understanding that this is a unique situation and kind of giving the Warriors the benefit of the doubt. We could debate whether they deserve the benefit of the doubt or not, considering the way this is all played out. But I think they might be given Raymond Ritter and everybody a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, and that, what is Dunleavy supposed to say today? Like, we'll see, what Jonathan Kuminga decides, and then we'll have another press conference on Thursday or whatever. So I think they're trying to allow. Now, Steve's going to talk tomorrow after their first practice, so he can do the thing tomorrow where he can say, hey, I'm not going to talk about JK. Let's talk about the first practice. Here's who was available. Here's who wasn't. That kind of thing. So they kind of skirt it for another day by the way they played it out. But it's unprecedented to not have your general manager and head coach speak on media day. That's a first for me. And I've probably got, I've probably got close to 20 media days in my life in the books at this point. I'm pushing 20 on that front.
Light Years is breaking every media day norm. This is a new level of Light Years, just going above and beyond. I mean, what was your real? To me, Steve not speaking was like the organization being like, we don't need him stirring the pot on this negotiation anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think we all know who does and doesn't, or I shouldn't even say does and doesn't, because I think for the most part they all would prefer the Kumingas elsewhere. I know, Draymond specifically and Jimmy did their very best to send it the other way. I thought Steph was the one guy who seemed the most annoyed today.
That was interesting. That was weird.
Because I would have bet Draymond or Jimmy, but I think, Draymond is somebody that understands business and the business of the league so well. And I think he tries to really consider himself kind of an advocate for younger players in terms of how to handle business. And so, yeah, right. Again, we can debate that, Andy, as well. Yeah. So I he doesn't want to pocket watch, that whole thing. So it's like, yeah,
fair.
So I don't think publicly he would kind of go after JK, although I think internally, I think there's a pivot point in which this thing gets weird, by the way. And Jimmy, Jimmy's had his own, he's basically quit on a couple of teams. So just being real about it. So I think Jimmy, who is he to say, JK needs to be here?
That's true. That's very true.
Again, it's one thing to do it in year 10. It's another thing to do it in year 4 when you have a proven thing.
I was gonna say it's one thing to do it when you're freaking Jimmy Butler,
exactly,
and you've single-handedly led teams to the Eastern. You beat the.
It's another thing to do it when you think you're Jimmy Butler in year 4. After year 4,
that's true.
When you haven't done anything. But so you're spot on about that. But Steph was the one that I think was a little bit more loose about it with the comments about not worrying about what Aaron Turner has to say, and I'll talk to JK, and he's gonna be with the program when he comes in, and I don't care.
That was funny. Yeah.
I don't care what, we're not paying him to basically be engaged. Like, he's going to be engaged, and I'm going to hold him to that standard, was kind of how I read it. So, yeah, and you could play the clip.
We got some audio.
I'm going to play it. I thought the agent quote especially was like,
Yep.
It felt like I'm in year 17. I don't deal with bullshit. I'm not going to play the nice guy here, but let me play it real quick.
His agent comes out and says, if we get the contract we want, we'll be committed to doing everything we can to win a championship. What is your reaction to something like that and the idea of like conditional commitment?
I only listen to my teammate. I don't listen to agents or anybody who's speaking on behalf. Like, I hear that from JK.
What have you heard from JK?
He'll be committed when he gets here. I just know from man to man, he doesn't want to have to be in the way of anything. So let that situation play out. He can speak for himself.
Why is he smiling like that? It's funny. The man-to-man part killed me. It just you can kind of see the wry look on his face where it's like, yeah, he's not going to say that bullshit to me. Because I think what he's referencing, I think the guy, I think it's Danny asking a question, but like, I think the question is more around like, hey, there was a report saying, or a rumor saying that if Kuminga gets his money, he's going to buy in, right? Which implies that if he
turn
doesn't get his money,
turn that TO to a PO, and he'll be bought into getting Steph number 5.
Turn that PO into a TO.
I'll give Turner this good turn of phrase.
Slogan.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Turn that PO. It's like a chant that people do outside City Hall, when they're protesting something. Turn that PO into TO into a PO. Yeah, it felt like Steph is kind of like annoyed. Annoyed, I think, is the word that is best. I don't think he's angry. I don't know. Maybe he is angry, but I've just never seen him act like that. At least publicly, he's kind of a boring guy publicly. Like, he just kind of doesn't have anything to say. So when I saw this and he's kind of looking like that, I thought that was interesting. I don't think Steph is all. I mean, this is obvious, but I don't think he's not all locked in on the Kuminga show, I think.
No, and I think he showed it, and I think it basically is like, if he comes in, he's going to have to be with the program, or I'm going to have to say something about it. And look, he's somebody that said something about it in the past. I mean, go back to before Game 7 in Sacramento in 2023. I mean, he was speaking directly, I think, to both Jonathan Kuminga and Jordan Poole, getting on the bus to ride down 80 to go play the Kings that Sunday afternoon, and then he dropped 50 to knock him out. So I think, look, everybody knows that, and I think there is a question, honestly, with Kuminga as to how, you can say, hey, pay me, make the team option a player option, and I'll be engaged and all that. But who really believes that at this point? Because we've seen him kind of waver along those lines throughout his entire tenure with the Warriors. I mean, to me, it's almost, pay me and I'll be locked in until the first time I don't finish a game that I think I should finish, or until I fall to 11th or 12th in the rotation again for a period of time. But yeah, go ahead, Sam. Steph showed what I think Draymond. Because here's the other part of it, just real quick. Like, the one thing that I think Steph and Draymond and Jimmy Butler all know is the best thing for the Warriors is that Kuminga resigns, doesn't take the qualifying offer, does it in the next 48 hours, and shows up, and they can make it work well enough to where he can be traded somewhere else, and they can get a player back that will accept his role and try to help them toward the goal they want, which is to win a title. So I think that was kind of where Draymond and Jimmy just kind of kept it short, and they didn't want to make any headlines. And Steph kind of, I think, was in his own way kind of making a little point, like, you're going to have to lock in, and you owe that to me once you come in, whether it's Wednesday or whenever.
Isn't he right, though? Because my biggest fear with this situation is I haven't liked the way the Warriors have handled it. And they may win the negotiation. In fact, they're probably going to win the negotiation. I really don't think he's going to sign a qualifying offer instead of taking $48 million guaranteed. But they've done it in a way where, if you were expecting him to be mature about, like, they've set up a situation where I think it's going to be more combustible than less combustible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He's already proven to you he's kind of immature. He obviously has these goals for his career, and it's been very hard for him to understand that doing less means doing more, or you do more by doing less. Like he still doesn't understand the idea that if he just locks into playing defense and playing in flow, he's actually going to make more money and eventually get that opportunity. And I just think the way the Warriors have handled this entire offseason, cold negotiation, like he's not a human, is just setting up a scenario where, to your point, what's going to happen the first time Steve benches him in a close game? Because, his focus goes up and down, and Steve's like, I need to win this game. I need to get Guy Santos in there because I know Guy's going to have his head in the game. It may be the right decision, maybe the wrong decision, but Steve's going to do it no matter what, And there's no trust. There's no trust. And that's where my biggest criticism of the front office is, where it's like, I feel like we're talking honestly about the Farhan Zaidi Giants, where it's like, do you not realize they're humans? Like this entire negotiation feels like devoid of Kuminga's humanity. And I'm not even saying that like I feel sorry for him. I'm saying that like it's just bad management.
Well, they've been cold, I think, this summer for sure. I think and you guys I know have talked about this a ton, but where they screwed up was the last 2 years in the lead up to this summer. Like they should have
100%.
moved him. I mean, I go back to, I was just thinking about it today, just because sometimes I align like different moments with just kind of things that are going on in the sports world. I just remember being in Las Vegas. The 49ers were getting ready to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl at the lead up to that trade deadline, a year and a half ago, basically in 24. And there was, the Pascal Siakam rumors, and the OG Anunoby thing was kind of, I think, going on before that. Siakam, I think maybe had already been traded, but there was all of that going on in the lead up to that week. And it really, that was the point at which I think, leading to that deadline, they probably should have moved him at the latest last offseason. And I know there were certain deals maybe they would have included him in, and they didn't come to fruition, whatever. But to me, the front office absolutely deserves to be crushed in my mind for the way they've handled the last couple of years. For me, and this is where I think people have disagreed with me, and it's more than fair. I think the cold approach once they got to July 1st is actually the right approach, because they almost have to take well, who do you think you are? Like, we're only going to offer you exactly what we have to offer you based on what the market dictates we offer you. And if you really want to take that qualifying offer, then that's on you, and you can sink your own career at your own peril. And I think there is a little bit of a weird, like, there is a financial component to that too, that
Sure.
I think in some ways makes the Warriors oddly unafraid. I'll be honest with you. I'd be pretty terrified. Like I just me personally. And I think that's what Aaron Turner's number one objective has been here with the media tours and all the leaks, and, having Anthony Slater and Shams on speed dial and all of these things. And Danny Emmerman, when if those two don't pick up, he'll go to Danny. Like and it's all good. That's
shout out Danny.
That's the business. Like that's the business. Like that's what it's all about. But the funny part, Andy, you're killing me. But
you're killing me, dude.
But the reality of it is, like, the Warriors are like, no, like, if you're really going to take, like, he's trying to scare them into thinking they'll take the qualifying offer in 2 days. And to the point where I think the Warriors 1 year with a team option for the second year, I think that was a bullshit offer. Like, straight up, like, I think that was a bullshit offer. It was an extreme low end, like, cold-hearted, like, look, bro, you've got no action. Take that qualifying offer. Like, but that was the offer you make without the intent of action, like with the intent of you're going to be comfortable bumping it up to what I think they eventually bumped it up to, the 2-year guarantee with the 3rd-year team option.
To your point, that's kind of where I thought it was going to actually settle, like a 2+1 at a number that teams can talk themselves into who like him.
No question. And the Warriors' fear in this is that they don't want to sign him to something that makes him untradeable, which is fascinating in its own right, because I think they're worried. Yes, they don't want the 3rd year potentially tying up Giannis, signing a free agent or a Giannis trade or whatever. Like, we could, like, forget all that. I know you guys get into it all the time, but to me, it's more about they don't want a team not wanting JK, knowing that JK can kind of hurt them with that third year if he's a completely sunk cost as a player at that point. And now you got to pay him $25 million a year because Kuminga hasn't done enough yet in his career to prove that $25 million in the third year is going to be safe.
Isn't this just like a lack of conviction from the front office? Like they feel like they're trying to wish cast him into Giannis instead of just being realistic that the highest value we're going to get from him is, to your point, 18 months ago, whatever, like that January 2024, year 3, showing some signs of breaking out enough so that another team might give you something. And now they're in this situation where it's like, yeah, dude, if he blows up somewhere else, you're just never going to get the value you wanted for him. I don't know. The entire thing, I said this, I've said it a few times. The entire thing screams of a green front office, which is antithetical to how the Warriors present themselves. Everyone loves to go, it's the Warriors. They know what they're doing. They're all buttoned up. And I'm sitting here and I'm going, yeah, but that's not Bob Myers. That's not Jerry West. That's not Travis Schlenk. It's a lot of dudes who are playing off credentials of people who built the dynasty. And the reality is it's a front office who has not actually been in these type of situations very long, at least in the decision maker capacity. Like Dunleavy, he's proven he's a very good scout. He knows talent, specifically with the second round picks, to phenomenal. It was his second summer, right?
Yeah.
Kirk, hasn't been a decision maker capacity in a real way.
Is it third summer, right? Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Because technically Bob quit right before the summer. Yeah, okay.
This summer doesn't feel like it counts.
Two full years. 2 full years.
Like this is like a 0 summer. So because at least till today.
My point is they're not, it's not RC Buford, it's not Sam Presti, it's not Daryl Morey, it's not, Pat Riley. These guys who've like been in this seat for 20 years and been through the ups and the downs and all that crap. So I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of minor mistakes the front office has made that they're trying to sweep under the rug with the the Warrior glow, which you win 4 titles, you get away with that. Sorry, that's how it works, right?
Well, and
Vivek's front office doesn't get away with that.
They're trying to salvage, I think, something that they've let get too far down the wrong path, and they want to win it. They don't want Kuminga to get over by going and being a star somewhere else. They don't want Kuminga to get over by screwing up their season by taking the qualifying offer. They still want to get at a minimum a useful rotation player back. Like I do think they would take now. I mean, they clearly haven't in the past with what's been reported, but I think now they would take a useful rotation player. But now the league kind of knows that what they really feel about him. So those guys aren't going to be out there, and then you start to get into the issues with only being able to take back half of the money, which would be the offseason sign and trade part of it. And then it just becomes too complicated for now. I do think you can get that player if you can get him signed here in the next 48 hours to a contract. He doesn't take the qualifying offer. At that point, it just opens the door to so many more players that just make in that $20 to $24 million range that you can just take back in a 1-for-1 kind of a deal. You might even be able to save those precious picks and not add a pick to a deal to get somebody that's a capable role player, not obviously to get a Trey Murphy or somebody really, really that would be a needle mover.
I do think this team being this old is a good thing to deal with this situation. I just to spin it the other way, because I'm trying to come out with fresh takes here. So I do think I'm listening to JD talk, and I'm kind of thinking like, if you were to put together a core 3 that could deal with the bullshit from the front office and Kuminga these last couple months leading into the season, I think it's these 3 guys. I think it's Steph, it's Draymond, it's Jimmy. Because if you put the Kuminga in a situation on a team that's like the Nets or the Blazers or something like that, like, I mean, it's a bad way to start a season. I do think with this team, like I think you mentioned earlier, like Jimmy's been through this a million times. Draymond's, kind of been through these hard negotiations. Steph is Steph, right? So yeah, the Nets, I think comments bringing up Cam Thomas, like that situation. Like, what do you think is going to happen to the Nets this season? How many games do you think they're going to win? Over under like 26.5?
Yeah,
what are we
under?
What are we talking?
16.5, honestly.
16.5,
Yeah.
right? So I do think on that end, maybe. Now here's why I might be giving Mike and Kirk too much credit, but it's like they're probably not thinking it that way. I think to JD's point, they just want to salvage some type of some type of value, because I do think they know this. Like, it's 48 million versus 8 million, man. Like, Aaron Turner is we won't ever hear from Aaron Turner again as an agent if he advises his player to turn down $43 million.
I don't think he's advising his player to do that. I think his player might do it in spite of his advice.
Ooh.
Yeah, because this whole thing has
Wow.
been, well, this whole thing I think has been, that's the one thing I do agree with, whatever the leak was a couple months ago about it being about power, right? Like, I do think a lot of this is about ego and power. It's JK thinks he's worth this. He feels completely disrespected by the Warriors. I think the Warriors in some ways feel disrespected by JK's opinion of himself. And so I do think there is a, like, look, bro, you can't command this when you don't have the ability for another team to make you an offer. When there's no market for you, you can't command this. You just kind of have to take. But you can also go back and say, 2 and 50 or 48 or whatever it is guaranteed is more than enough, especially in comparison to the $8 million qualifying offer. I think it's interesting, Andy. I wanted to touch on what you said about having Steph and Draymond and Jimmy, and they've been through it, and they're equipped to handle it from a team, locker room standpoint. I agree with that, but the immediate where my mind goes is one of the actual, I guess, more legitimate basketball themes of the day, and it's come up the last couple of years at Media Day. It's the note of this team being able to get through 82 games and be good enough to be able to not have to play like they had to play the last 31 games. Yeah. And I think whether it's Kuminga or whatever happens with Kuminga, I think, that, like, I don't think they can. I like the moves that they've made and the couple that haven't been made official, Melton and Horford, that are going to be made official. I like that team if they had to play a 30-game season in the playoffs a lot. I mean, I do. And I think, that team, Steve Kerr, I think, looks at the guys that he's going to have independent of Kuminga. I think he looks at the guys he's going to have as old as they are. And he kind of looks at it like, yeah, if Kuminga's here or not here, I've got 9, 10, 11 guys I can play. And now, the problem is you can't do that for 6 months, and you can't do that for 82 games.
Not with these guys.
Because they're too old. So that's where I think it gets off the rails.
And that's what Aaron Turner's kind of leaning on. And honestly, he's not wrong. They need.
Yep.
Look, I don't expect Kuminga to come back and be like Sean Marion. Like, it's not happening. If he could, he would. It's not happening, But they could use his ability to just provide athleticism and some scoring punch to limit some of the load on these guys until the trade deadline.
They could.
They could use it from like 8 different guys, but he's like clearly the most talented scorer, unless Pods is taking a massive leap this year. Like, Moses Moody's going to help them a lot, but he's not really a scorer. And like Quentin Post, I liked his media day interview, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these guys will all help them, but Kuminga helps them in a different way where, like, yeah, if he can give him 20 minutes and 12 points a game and try his best on defense and generally have a good attitude, like, that's helpful. Those are the things that keep Draymond's minutes at like 29 a game instead of 34. I don't need Draymond playing 34, 36, 38 minutes in December. He won't make it to April, to your point. And
that's
then
the perfect scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, the perfect scenario is Kuminga comes back, signs one of these deals that the Warriors are accepting of, that they've put in front of him. He comes back, he buys into some version of what the Warriors want. He absorbs those minutes, and it's harmonious enough to where
everyone gets what they want.
They can trade him in January, and then they trade him in January, and they get a role player that can be, I think, a playoff rotation player is probably the way to put it. Like you want a playoff rotation, because I think they have older guys that. I mean, I like the Melton signing to me, and I know he's not even older. He just, because of the injuries, I think we think of him like he's 35, but he's really 29 or almost
27.
20. Is he only 27?
Yeah, we did that
He's
yesterday.
young.
Blew
Oh my
our
God.
mind. Blew our
Bro,
minds.
I would have
Yeah.
said
Old soul though, like Moses Moody. Even
Like-
their young
like
guys
body.
feel old.
like
Old
Kevon
body
Looney,
is what
like
it is,
Kevon
yeah.
Looney, who's not 30 yet either.
37-year-old.
The funniest media day quote I saw was Looney getting offended. He was being called an unk. He's like, unk is 34, 35. I'm like, buddy,
He's right.
He's like, bro, I'm 29.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you've been 35 for 5 years. So
But he's not wrong. I feel bad.
no, he's
for him,
not wrong.
actually.
But it's just
I feel bad for him.
But like to the point though, like Al Horford can play in the playoffs, like, and it puts you where you don't have to play a lot of Quentin Post if Quentin Post isn't ready to play. Like Melton is the guy who can play to where if Pods isn't playing well, you don't have to still put him out there 35 minutes because you don't have another option. Like they have these little insurance policies kind of built in. The only question is the long haul and the attrition and the having to play 80 games like they played the last 30 just to win 50. And like that's the part where it doesn't add up as far as
I've been on that train, JD, since day one. Like I love this team. They're not gonna survive the season. And Mike Weisberg in the chat brings up Anthony Simons, and Anthony Simons is not a player I've ever liked, ever. Doesn't play defense, doesn't pass. Can he score efficiently? He scores a lot, but is it? And I know Steve doesn't like a player like that, but like that's the type of player that's who the Warriors need. Like Malik Monk. I don't like Malik Monk. I do not like him as a player, but that's the player the Warriors need to get through 82 games. Because if you don't have that, then you're just not going to score enough in an 82 game season. Is he going to play in the playoffs? Malik Monk is probably not playing in a playoff series. He's going to get played off the floor. Same with Simon. Same with all these like score type of guys. But like Wednesday night against the Wizards at home, when Steph is, goofing around and kind of sore, and Jimmy's
I would rather
Steph
Steph and Jimmy not have to assert themselves in that game.
Because
that's the bigger.
Exactly. That's when you need Simons to go in there and can you just go get 32? You know what I mean? Can you just go shoot 13 threes and just go get us 30 points? You know what I mean? Because like to your
that's Pods this year. That's Pods this year.
Yeah. No, that's what they're kind of.
You were telling me, JD, Pods was feisty today.
It was an odd Pods day. I mean, Pods was kind of the media darling last year. I think he was somebody that I think he is one of these guys kind of coming up and in college. Forgive me, I don't remember what his major was or anything like that. But I think he's a
major.
I don't remember what. I don't remember
basketball.
Yeah,
communications.
Illinois, and his major was a transfer portal from Illinois to Santa Clara for more minutes.
Yeah.
But he's one of these like kind of media savvy. Like I think wants to get into media whenever 15 years from now or whenever. He's that kind of guy. I think he's a sports fan. He's obviously been a big Valkyries. Like he's out at Oracle Park all the time. Like he likes baseball. He follows the NFL. He just likes sports. So I think like he's somebody that I think in 15, 20 years, like might be, he'd have a podcast.
He's be on NBC talking about his greatest hits.
It's something like that. Exactly. But so I think because that was something that maybe the Warriors PR department kind of knew that he was interested in, they really put him out there a lot as he would do every interview. Like, hey, can I get a one-on-one with like last year I was in Hawaii for training camp, and it's basically like you're coming to Hawaii and the Warriors will kind of reach out. It's like, let's get like 4 or 5 one-on-ones. Like you're not going to get Steph or Draymond or Jimmy wasn't on the team at that point. Like you're not going to get Steph or Draymond, but like let's pick like 4 or 5 guys and you can do kind of a one-on-one per day. And it's like Pods is the one that I think did everybody's one-on-one. Right, like Pods did like everybody that got lined up for one-on-ones. Like Pods, Kuminga maybe did 2, and Melton did 2, and Kyle Anderson was also somebody that was kind of into it, so he did a bunch of them. But anyway, what I'm getting at with Pods is he's very media savvy, and I think kind of reads and listens and watches and kind of understands like a lot of what's going on, and so he's much more introspective on the whole media landscape. But today he was just. And I think willing to give kind of thoughtful answers in press conferences as almost a younger team spokesman type. But today I thought he was terse. I mean, I thought he was short with basically all his answers. I mean, he gave info on his surgeries and he's been cleared to play since August 1st. So that's like 2 months ago. So he should be healthy. But it was a very short, terse.
He's locked in.
Like media, he had the comments, I think, about, the media is going to portray things. I think he was asked about Kuminga on a station I will not name anymore. But I think make sure you're listening and watching KMBR, the sports leader. But he had his comments, and kind of like the media twist things, and they're making a bigger deal about this JK stuff and all that. So that I think was a little bit of a shift. And then today he didn't want to make news, and I think he got some crap for playing poorly in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think the fans, he took some crap. I think those in the media who tend to be a little bit more of the Kuminga supporter types, I think shifted a little bit toward the whole narrative of, well, nobody complains about Pod's mistakes. Pod's sucked in these 6 games in the playoffs, and nobody brings that up, but Kuminga can't get rid. So I think he felt the weight of that. And so I think maybe he's a little pissed off about the fact that he got some legitimate criticism for the first time in his career. It also could be, Andy, what you're saying. He could just be, hey, I don't want any of the BS. I'm locked in. It's all about hoop.
He came into last season. The Pods thing was interesting because he came into it and we heard him talking about I get to shoot 8 to 10 threes a game, and I was like, all right, my guy, let's
that's true.
Let's slow it the fuck down.
Yeah, I'm ready to be the number 2 option because remember Jimmy wasn't here and Clay was gone, and
let's relax. But the 2 surgeries are huge. Dude, it explains so much of the struggles that he had. Look, I feel like it excuses it. If the guy had surgery and he just got healthy August 1st, I mean, come on. I mean, he played through all of that in the postseason and the latter half of the season. So anyway, Sam, I cut you off. You got anything on the pod stuff before we go to Reed?
I'm going to come with a very cynical take on Pods' moodiness.
It's your guy, Sam.
There's my guy. I think he's seeing the way the Warriors are negotiating with Kuminga, knowing he's got a negotiation coming up very soon.
Yeah. It's a good take, yeah.
Wondering, they going to take care of me? Bob's not here. They going to take care of me, or am I going to have to fight for every penny too?
Well,
I don't know. To be honest, I don't think it's that cynical, but I do think it's year 3 is the year we determine, is he a guy who's going to get 9 figures? Is he going to get that 4 or 5 year, I'm not talking max, but Jabari Smith got 5 years, 130. You know what I mean? Good players get paid after year 3. Is he going to be one of those guys, or is he going to be in restricted free agency going through hell like this? It's a lot of pressure on a guy's head, and he's a motivated guy. He is a very motivated and confident guy,
and super aware. Going back to the earlier, he's super aware of everything everybody's saying and tweeting and talking about.
I like Pods.
2 online. They're all 2 online.
They are. They're young.
As we are all 2 online.
I am too, actually. I shouldn't say young because I'm also 2 online.
Well, Pods is 23 going on 37, and that he's a true millennial in that respect.
Yeah, that is true. Steve will have his back, and I think he's just a really good player, man. I hope he stays on the Warriors. All right. I feel like
JD, give us a minute here, and then if you can hang out with us for one more minute.
Yeah.
Light Years Podcast, we are brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. New Prize Picks feature, Samuel. Prize Picks, the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So, I mean, this one's easy. Thursday Night Football, Niners, Rams. Take a wild guess on who I'm going to stack. This is the easiest thing ever. I mean, come on. There's the only one guy healthy on the Niners. I think he basically decided to take everyone's ligaments and just said, I'm the one that's going to play 17 games. Every stat you can find of Christian McCaffrey on Thursday, take the more. Take the rush yards, take the receiving yards, take the per receptions, take passing yards, take it all. Go throw all that in the same lineup because there's nobody on the Niners that's healthy except for Christian McCaffrey. So you can go do that. He's the entire offense. You can pick all of them, same lineup, only on Prize Picks, by the way. So the app is really easy to use. Create a lineup. All you got to do is pick more or less on player stats for your shot to win. Download the app today. Use code LightYears to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LightYears. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right.
There are a few things in life that really determine your mood more than a good pair of underwear. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, I wake up, I'm tired. I'm chasing a toddler around. Everything in the morning is tough. I'm going through my day. I'm sludging, trying to eat well because I always feel like I'm like 5-10 pounds overweight. I'm always trying to get in better shape. I just trugging along at all times. And the last thing I need is to feel worse about myself. So the thing that really makes me feel good is when I have a good pair of underwear on, something that has the correct amount of flexibility and support. You don't want too much flexibility. You don't want to be too loose. You're too loose, that's uncomfortable. I don't want to be like swinging all over the place. That's weird, you know? But nobody likes underwear that's too tight. You feel uncomfortable. You sit down. You're like, there's a crack showing. Like, no one wants that. So you're trying to find that perfect cross section at all times. And nothing I've found matches Skims. Literally nothing. The absolute best pair of underwear I've ever had. The boxer briefs, the 5-inch break, those are the best boxer briefs I've had. I wear them every day until it's laundry day, and then I'm mad. I'm in the bad pair again until I do my laundry. But that's just motivation to buy more Skims. Guys, shop Skims Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and let them know about and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. So guys, remember, skims.com, Skims Men, podcast, select our show.
Wow.
I'm speaking from the heart here. This is not a sell.
Incredible read.
These are just facts that I'm going with right now.
Wow.
You excited for I don't know, JD, where's your head at with this team overall right now? Because it's just media day was weird. Yeah, in theory they have Horford. The Kuminga thing.
Hey, real quick, I want to ask you guys on Horford. The one thing I don't know if you talked about this, but they had to give Horford more than 1 year to get him to come. That was a little interesting. Like, I think wouldn't you have anticipated Horford was going to just be like 1 year, and obviously he could retire at any point, but not that it really matters in the grand scheme of things, but I thought it was interesting that when it got reported last night on what the contract, multi-year contract, now that could be some BS option and it's much ado about nothing, but I don't know. It kind of struck me like, did they have to give him an extra guaranteed year for waiting like throughout the summer and not just retiring?
I'm going to be honest with you. I always assumed he was getting 2 years. I always assumed it was going to be like a 1+1 as a way that they can, because like he's better than $5 million a year. Even at this age, he's a better player than that. So this is a way for them to spread out the money. And then secondarily, he plays well. He wants to opt out. He wants to go back to Boston. That's cool. He doesn't. He wants to stay with the Warriors. He gets more money. The worst case scenario, he's cooked by the end of the season. We're like, you can't play in the NBA at all. That $5 million on the books is not going to break the bank for this team. Like, it's not going to be the reason they can't assemble a roster next year. So to me, that just kind of feels like the new CBA where you give guys like, you spread the money out a little bit and it's like, okay, so we might have $5 million on the books next year we don't want. Whatever. Like, we can move that.
Man, don't tell Kuminga he got the PO.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this: Horford's been good for a very long time, very long time. I don't think it's a question which player is going to be more impactful for the Warriors, regardless of the fact. Like, how much money is Horford going to make this season? 5?
Yeah,
for the
I
Warriors?
think it's
5?
5.6,
5.5, whatever that TP
9-ish. Yeah.
Kuminga's going to make either 8 or 24, like whichever one is more than Horford, and Kuminga's not going to give half the impact that Horford's going to give. So, it's funny, but also the multi-year kind of lines up with Steph and Draymond too, right? So, is he going to be here to finish out his career with those two guys? Kind of feels like the way you look at these guys. Me personally, it doesn't feel like these guys are only going to play for two more seasons. Like, I don't see that being the case. But again, we're too far away to know. But it's like, I mean, Jimmy looks like he could play for a while, man. Like Steph,
even like you look at Horford right now, he's going to play till he's 40, maybe play till he's 41. With the amount of money guys get, we sure like Draymond's not, I thought Draymond's retiring for sure at the end of this contract. We sure he's not going to get one more after this, even if it's not on the Warriors. Like, teams, That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Someone puts like $5 million in front of you to be the locker room guy. Are you not going to be like, well, or I could go sit at home. I don't know. This is kind of cool, like.
Well, he said, bad. I think today he'd like to play 4 more years, which I thought was.
Oh wow!
I think he did say that.
Wow!
And I mean, obviously, what he's got 2 left on the current deal, so maybe that. And I think he's self-aware to know that where he is in 2 years will dictate how much money he makes. Maybe for another 2 years, and I think he also in that answer is acknowledging that the fact that we all know once guys reach a certain age, they can look like they're going to play 4 more years, but by the end of any year, you could know that that's not going to be the case based on injury or performance. So it is year to year as much as I think right now. I would agree with you guys both. Right now it looks like Steph's got 4. Right now, I would say Jimmy's probably got 3. I think Draymond's probably got 3. I'd say at this point. So. But yeah, it was interesting to kind of hear Draymond allude to that in the future. I don't think he was baiting for like wanting an extension or anything like that. But
hey, you never know with Draymond. You never know with Draymond. That guy.
But they're also human. Like, there's the level of like, all right, I signed this contract. It's probably my last contract. But then you get like a year away from it. You're like, you know what? I could probably play another 3 more years. They'll probably give me like, that's just another $50 million. Like, I would think the exact same way Draymond does, which is like, you sign it when you're 33, 34, and you're like, all right, this is probably it for me. And then you get to like 36, you're like, let's see if I can get another 50 mil out of everyone. I don't blame them. It's okay. If your back's not broken, it's fine.
Well, that's where they need like some of these younger players to pick up the slack to really, because obviously Steph 3 years from now isn't going to be dribbling the ball. Maybe he will, but he's not going to be the guy handle. He doesn't even want to handle the ball as much anymore now. Like, he plays so much off ball, and so that's where they need someone like Pods to kind of take some of that off his shoulder, which is another kind of makes me excited watching Pods year 3.
Yeah, JD,
quote unquote breakout. Yeah, go ahead.
Where's your head out with the Warriors younger players? We've talked Kuminga, so let's keep him to the side.
Sure. Yep.
Please.
Pods, Moody, Quentin Post. We'll throw Will Richard in there.
Richard, yeah, let's go. Yeah, Will Richard.
What's your impression based off the summer, based off today? How are you feeling about all these players one by one?
Tui non-factor. We'll throw him in a different in kind of his own non-factor until proven otherwise. Will Richard's interesting because they gave him that 4-year deal. That's really, I guess, a 2-year deal guaranteed, but they signed him to the roster. He's not a 2-way player. So I think that's an indicator that they like his skill set as a back, as an 11 to 15 type of a roster player. I kind of look at, who are your starters, who's your next like group of 5, and then who's like your back. I kind of look at it in
deep bench,
3 groups of 5. And I feel like he's an 11 to 15, but I think they like him as an 11 to 15 type of a guy for this year. And then maybe he works into being more than that. If he can shoot the ball, I think he has the intangibles. I think he's a shorter guy, but he's got the wingspan, and I think he's sturdy. Like, I think he could actually be a productive regular season player, maybe by the middle of the year for them in terms of, maybe being that. I'm a little reluctant to say 3-and-D wing because he's 6'4", but he does have the wingspan, which allows for it to play.
But I think 6'4" is the new 6'6".
Okay. I prefer 6'6" with the wingspan.
Now I'm just making shit up. But like, I just watched the Thunder. I just watched the Thunder win with Caruso and Dort at power forward. You know what I mean? Like, they're not. Both of those guys are 6'3".
Yeah, you're right. A GP2 is going to play some 4. So it's Pods is going to play some 3. Right, because he rebounds. So no. So Richard's fine. But no, we're really talking about Podziemski and Moody and Post. Those are the guys that I think are. I think I never.
Guy Santos. No Guy Santos thoughts, real quick.
Guy. Guy is somebody that if he could just get a little bit better defensively and a little bit more consistent with his shot, like Guy actually I think could be a really productive regular season player that could maybe even play some spot minutes in the playoffs and be effective. Like, if he's just a little better, like there were times where he was completely overwhelmed in both series when he got opportunities against Houston and Minnesota. But I think he's solid, not a needle mover, Quentin Post is interesting. I love Quentin Post now with I like what they've done with the veteran players in terms of kind of the insurance policies with the younger players. Like Melton's kind of take a little pressure off Pods, and Horford takes a little pressure off a Post. Right now you can start Horford, and Draymond plays the 4, and Post can just be that extra kind of big that can get out there and shoot. He looked a little stronger to me, just kind of looking at him at the podium today. Can he learn to be he's not soft, which I think is important. Can he be a capable defender? I think that's kind of the key for him. But I think he already showed he could be a quality regular season player just by having the ability to knock down shots.
There's so few dudes his size who can legitimately shoot the ball.
So he's a factor. And I think when we talk about how do they get through 82, like Quentin Post being able to play basically every game is part of that equation among the 82. And it because there's going to be 20 games that Horford is out, and I think they'll just plug Post in at the 5, honestly, and just that'll be their way to play Post and Draymond together. Or if Draymond gets a night off, they'll go in a different direction. So I kind of like Quentin Post, but he's more on the limited role. I think Moody's going to get opportunities. I think Moody is going to finally be truly in the rotation. To me, what's interesting to me about Pods and Moody, we're going to find out, I think, how much the injuries truly impacted the playoffs, because they're both healthy. And, Moody really came on down the stretch after they got Jimmy Butler. I mean, he was starting. I mean, they had the insane record when he started and, with Jimmy, and was basically playing the 4. So that was, that's something I think, I just like his ability to do a little bit of everything. I think you wish he was a little bit quicker in some spots. I think you wish he was a little bit longer in other spots. I think you wish he would just make shots a little more consistently. And I think it would allow for the whole thing to stand up. Pods, I think, is the wild card. So I think Moody's kind of steady, but a better, he's going to be more playable than those other guys that we mentioned. Pods really is the wild card. One thing that's just kind of my general rule and or pet peeve, I never count on a leap. I never count on it. Like we can all talk about it. We can all hope for it. We can all, hey, if it happens, it's going to be amazing. And it was Kuminga last year. And I probably said the same thing to you guys. Like, I'm not counting on a Kuminga leap. I just don't like the year 4 leap.
No, I remember it. You did say it. And I was in my head. I was like, JD's being a hater. Kuminga was for sure rude to him. I don't want to hear this because I need it to happen. And lo and behold, they happened. Reality took over.
They just happened. And honestly, with Kuminga, if it was going to happen, I think it would have already happened before last year, to be honest. Like, Pods is in a different category. Like, I think less is more with Pods. Like, I think having, in essence, structuring the team where you're counting on him for less will lead to more efficiency, and will lead to just him getting out of his own head and playing smart basketball and taking the right shot and keeping the ball moving and doing all the hustle things. Like, I think whenever Melton's healthy enough to play, and I think, we'll see if Seth Curry winds up on the team. We'll see how they use Buddy Hield. But I think Melton's really the one where, like, once he's healthy and able to play, assuming he can stay healthy, the 25 minutes or whatever in the regular season, not every night, it really kind of forces Pods to just play simple and free, and less is more. And if he can do that, I think he's going to rocket up in terms of impact. The problem is every time you count on Pods for more, it just feels like he kind of gets in his own head and he tries too hard, and he just isn't as efficient. And
I do want to see if he can do more on the other hand. But I get what you're saying, because when he does have to handle a little more, he's not like, he's a good passer in that he moves the ball, but he's not an off the ball dribble passer, and then he's not like an amazing like shooter. So he's kind of like a tweener in terms of like all the skills he has is good as a connector player versus like, all right, if you put the ball in his hands, can he be that player? But I don't know, man. Like, I want to find out if he could do it. I mean, he's still young enough to see. So I would like to see if he can like run a second unit this season. I mean, I feel like the Warriors got so many of these like solid bench role guys that it's like, okay, maybe we entrust pods a little bit with the ball in his hands, and let's see if we can figure out, because you got Melton, Moody, Jimmy, Pose, like all these guys that are just like, they're all so good in their role, but there's no upside with so much of these guys. Maybe it's like this is the only guy that kind of maybe has that upside.
But I just feel like if it's going to happen, it's going to just happen naturally and not by saying he needs to do more. Like, I think we kind of saw how that worked a little bit last year, and you grow. I mean, players grow and they get more mature and they improve their game. I mean, if he can just make open shots more consistently, that goes a long way in and of itself, because he really does the other things. It's just, he just misses, I think, too many open shots. And he got off to a horrible start last year, which really made his numbers look bad for the whole year. If he can be the guy for a full year that he was really for the last half of the year or half plus
games.
Yeah, it was a little more than half the year, then I think we would probably end up categorizing that as a jump.
Yeah.
I do worry because the injuries he had, like the core injury, a lot of them feel like overexertion. And is it overexertion because just nature of sports? Is it overexertion because he's just a little too unathletic to play at this level and he has to kill himself to play at this level? Yeah. But I'm with you guys. Like, in terms of feel and touch, he should be a very good NBA player. He's shown he can be a good NBA player. And year 3 tends to be when guys kind of separate themselves. It's kind of when we find out if guys are okay. Jordan Poole comes to mind, completely different player, but like year 3, it was like, oh, this is a guy who can average 20. Now, is he a sixth man? Is he a starter? Debatable, but like he's a scorer in this league, right? That's what it feels like when we're talking about pods here. I just want to see where he lands in year 3 now. So
yeah. I think that's. I mean, yeah, I think that's who else am I thinking of? I was gonna make a joke about Kevin Knox, but I think we'll keep it moving from Kevin Knox, who I did enjoy some of his G League games.
Kevin Knox is about to show out on Sunday night against the Lakers.
Only 26. Only 26.
I'm still buying. No.
I think I am. I'm not buying much though. I think it's just like, whatever, $20 a week. I'm buying Kevin Knox stock. That's all I'm going with. He did play. I don't even know if he's on the team, so I could be completely wrong. The comments can correct me, but no, I do think I think from my end, the final piece here, I would love JD get your thoughts. I mean, going into the season here, like I do think overall we talked about kind of some of the downsides, but I think they're on pace to win a bunch of games. Like they are a really, really good team when you look at this in the aggregate. Like, is it a 48-win team? Like, is it a 50-win team? Maybe pushing it ish because of the age, but man, I think they are going to be good the first couple weeks of the season when guys are upright and there are no injuries.
I mean, that was the other thing you could really tell last year throughout training camp was that they were going to get off to a good start and they were all buying in. It just completely crashed, right? Yeah. They just couldn't. They just couldn't sustain it. I would say 50 if they could just be the most healthy version.
50's banking on that. Rick Celebrini needs to win MVP if they get 50.
I mean, it's 50, but it's also Steph plays the right 65 and Horford, it's like, because they never get it right? They always, we're going to rest him, but then a guy gets hurt and then you can't rest him. And then because they can't rest him, then that guy needs a few more days off. And then you lose this game here. And all of a sudden
it's lost. Like the 2022 thing where they get off to a 28-6 start. And then the injuries hit and all they need to do is be 500 the rest of the year. And now you got 50 plus wins. So, a lot of things
that's the template. But yeah, that's the template. That's a hell of a start.
Yeah. They don't have the schedule for that start. I'll tell you that right now. They do not have like 15 games against the Bulls to start the season like they did that year. JD, before we get you out of here, you've been more than generous with your time. Let's get a prediction for how this Kuminga thing ends.
Oh boy.
First off, do you agree with me? It's ending Wednesday, right?
I think it's ending Wednesday because, and this is the thing I know others have said to the contrary, Kuminga completely loses all the leverage if he lets the qualifying offer deadline go by. Like it's over at that point. The Warriors could pull everything and say, you're going to take the 1+1 and it's going to be for $15 million. Like I'm not saying they would do that, but like they could do.
They will. I bet you they would.
So like literally the only thing Aaron Turner has right now is the fear that they're crazy enough to take the qualifying offer. That is the leverage, is that, hey, don't think we won't, like that whole thing. I think ultimately he winds up, to me, the middle ground is 2 years and no option. Like I think like guaranteeing him 2 years, like 2 and 48.
Just call it a day.
Just call it a day. 2 and 48, and it's no option. You're going to trade him in the first half of the first year anyway, which still gives the team the year and a half to evaluate whether they want him or not, and also give him the freedom to move on. Like I view that as the fair compromise. But among the offers that are currently on the table, and I'll go back to the 3 that Shams reported last night. I feel like the 2 and 45 with the team option. I'm sorry, the 3 and 75 with the team option in the third year. I think that's the one that is the one that's the best option for him, where you're guaranteeing yourself the 48 instead of the 8, and then you let the chips fall where they may on that. I mean, he's still going to be young enough, even if he is really good and gets stuck on that third year because a team wants him at $25 million and it's a bargain. He's still going to make that money the next year at 25, and as a true over $150 million player at that point. Plus, if he's the player that he thinks he is, he's going to get all that money back from somebody at that point. So I think if I had to bet right now, he ends up taking the 3 or the 2, the 375,
the 2-1,
the 2+1. Yeah. The 2+1 is, and everybody, it's still going to be awkward. Like I will say this was one thing I kind of was going to get into, and we got off on another tangent as far as like, where does it get weird? I think if he takes the qualifying offer, like if he doesn't take the qualifying offer, like if he accepts any of the other deals, I think Steph and Draymond and Jimmy, like they'll accept him and they'll make it work. And if he isn't with the program, they'll be nice about it while they quietly try to move him and not reduce his value any further. Like I think it can work from that standpoint between now and January. If he takes the qualifying offer, I think he is immediately persona non grata. And it's not because it's not necessarily even because he screwed the team in that. It's more because I just think all of the players will look at it as that's a really stupid move to leave $40 million on the table.
I think they're already annoyed. I think they're already there, JD, and
they are.
I know.
It's a powder keg. Like,
I think everybody knows that. I mean, just look at Steph today.
He's going to get DNP'd if he takes the QO. Like I'll tell you right now.
Shit, I mean that's crazy. Yeah, that's wild. Go ahead.
There's no reason for them to play him unless he is so much better than the other option. Because if he takes the 1+1 or the 2+1,
that's wild.
There's going to be a lot of pressure on Steve to like play him through mistakes because we need to make him look good, right?
Keep appearances up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the reality. Yeah. Like you can't trade a guy in January if he doesn't play.
Totally.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even
if it's just a qualifying offer where they cannot trade him because quite frankly, he doesn't have the contract and the no trade clause, it's going to get very ugly. You can get very ugly. It'll go Nerlens Noel status, which is exactly what happened there.
Well, I think that's the part where it's you can't have him take that qualifying offer because it's like, oh well, you're a free agent, but it's like, oh, people can pay you next season. Then who's paying you?
Well, it screws them too because they're praying he's on a 20-ish number.
You're right.
So that they can flip him for a player they like.
I get that. But I think from Kuminga's perspective, because I think the Warriors are going to be fine without him. They're not going to play him anyway. They weren't fucking playing him last year anyway when the games really mattered. They played him when their best player got lost. They had no chance, so they played him, and he got a bunch of bullshit points at the end that nobody cares about. So I think the thing is now it's like, well, if to Sam's point, if he's going to take the qualifying offer and then why would the Warriors care to play him at all? I hadn't even thought about that. I just thought they would kind of just go about it. But now that I think about it, like then long term, what does that mean for him if he's going to get benched next season? Because if you're talking about the teams next season that are going to pay him, the Kings, the Suns, well, they're going to pay him anyway. If they're going to pay him, then they're going to pay him anyway. The Warriors don't have to play him regardless. Now if you're coming, you're just sitting there. Now you're not playing for an entire season, and you lost out on $40 million. Well, that's crazy. Yeah,
and that's his risk. That's what he's risking by taking the qualifying offer. And Aaron Turner should know that, given the history. Like, he wasn't being played before. It's very easy to not play him now. And again, I go back to the roster construction, and I do like the roster on paper, age aside. There are plenty of options for Steve Kerr. I know the joke has been 9 players and they're starting to fill in, and it'll all become official at some point here in the next couple of days. But Steve's got more than enough. Like, he's played GP2 over him. He's played Moody over him. He's played D over him. Now he's got Horford in the center mix. Draymond's going to play more 4 now because you've got 2 centers with Horford and post. So that reduces some of the options for him to play. Like, Buddy Hield's going to play a lot of 3 probably because they do that in the regular season because they play smaller. So there are plenty of options. And to your point, Andy, they won a lot of games. He was a factor in one game, the Laker game in April that they won at Crypto. Like, that was the only game where he was really a factor.
That's the formula. He uses athleticism against a really fat, out of shape Luka, So no, but I'm joking, but like, I do think he can help the team if he locks into his role to a degree.
Right. Definitely.
You're right.
No, that's the perfect world scenario. The perfect world scenario is he signs 2+1. He comes, they get
everyone knows the deal. Everyone knows the deal. It's a mutually beneficial thing.
And see you later.
Steve multiple times talks to the podium about how he's really changed and he can see him as the future of the team. No one buys it. Literally no one buys it. And then, to your point, like in January, we'll see where we go.
They just can't get snookered into the old, he's playing so well in his role that you can't trade him.
They will.
That you can't do.
They will. They'll do that.
Oh, he's playing well. Should we hold on to him? Giannis might come available in the summer. Do we really want to get rid of him for PJ Washington when Giannis might be available next summer? I don't know. Anyway, all right, we're calling it a night.
Maybe you can get Keegan Murray and Devin Carter at the trade deadline if he plays well.
Ooh,
because then they'd have to salary match Kuminga, not the other way around.
I would believe Vivek would do something like that. That's more believable in Giannis, actually. I believe the Warriors would find a way to swindle that trade.
By the way, I don't know if you guys, I was watching some of the media days, and because I have history in Sacramento and all that. Like, one of the big media day questions in Sacramento: what's wrong with Keegan Murray? Can Keegan Murray bounce back? Is Keegan Murray happy enough on a team with like 5 guys who just want to chuck?
Yeah, he struggled last season.
Give him a 6 guy who wants to chuck. That's going to unlock him.
Yeah, that's true.
Just something to keep an eye on. If somebody that's going to be, he's up for an extension and all of those things as far as, guys.
The Keegan thing's interesting because he's going to demand the same type of contract that Kuminga and all. Like, I was just thinking about it. Like, Pods is going to probably demand $100+ million. And that's a lot of money. These, like, you have to kind of make decisions on these guys pretty quick these days.
Keegan Murray's, I don't know.
But I think in a winning environment, he's going to be a very.
But I think he two-way wing who can shoot the ball, who can do enough thing. He's going to find a team who's going to bet.
Yeah, I get it.
That he could be Trey Murphy.
He's perfect on the Warriors. Perfect on the Warriors. Simply put, he's perfect. If he was on the Warriors. As Mike put it, there's enough teams out there who are willing to give him 25 just to see if he can be the guy he is some nights. Like, see if that guy we saw in the playing game against the Warriors, he can be that guy like on every night type of thing. If the Warriors had Keegan Murray, and they put him on the trade block, like they could get something good. Like, they could probably do Keegan and like a pick or 2 for like Trey Murphy, and New Orleans would probably like be like, okay, or if they had Keegan, they might not need to hit the trade block. That also could be a thing too. He might actually be what they want, So yep. But they got who they got. So, all right. Wednesday, JD, Wednesday. We will
JD, appreciate you for giving us so much of your time tonight.
Oh yeah,
Much love.
anytime. Appreciate you
Much love.
guys.